Just a month earlier, Eisner had publicly praised Roy's efforts on behalf of the company at the grand opening of Mission Space, the new attraction at Walt Disney World, which had drawn big applause. Crowds always seemed to respond to Roy, perhaps because at age 73 he bore such a close physical resemblance to Walt. But Eisner's public praise masked a mounting private hostility. When Eisner's wife, Jane, passed Roy and his wife, Patty, shortly before Eisner's speech, they had pointedly ignored each other. Roy had long ago stopped attending Eisner's weekly meetings with top executives, or the lunches where he had once kept Roy informed of company plans and strategy. Roy had stopped trusting Eisner after he learned that Eisner had planted a spy next to him in the animation department to report on everything Roy said or did. They had avoided contact at the recent New York premiere of Brother Bear, the Disney Studio's latest and, in Roy's view, mediocre animated feature. Worst of all, when Roy's mother Edna and Walt's widow Lillian had been posthumously honored at that year's Disney Legends Awards, and Roy accepted on the family's behalf, Eisner hadn't shown up. It was the first time Eisner had failed to attend the event, and soon after, word circulated within Disney that the company's chairman and vice chairman were no longer speaking. Roy wasn't looking forward to the drink he was about to have with John Bryson, chairman and chief executive of Edison International, the parent of Southern California Edison. Bryson, who'd joined the Disney board in 2000, was chairman of the powerful Nominating and Governance Committee. Roy rarely spoke at board meetings, but his ally, business partner, lawyer, and fellow board member Stanley Gold more than made up for his silence. For years, Gold had been sharply critical of Eisner's management and the financial performance of the company, but his comments at board meetings had fallen on deaf ears. The directors seemed to support Eisner blindly. Those who didn't, such as Andrea Van de Kamp and Rivetta Bowers, had been purged, a warning to others of the perils of dissent. Roy was especially suspicious of Bryson, an Eisner loyalist who had first displaced Gold as chairman of the governance committee and then voted him off the committee altogether. Beginning the previous September, Gold had issued a series of letters to his fellow board members that were harshly critical of Eisner's performance and compensation. He and Roy thought it would be more difficult to ignore comments in writing, and they wanted to make their views perfectly clear. Most recently, Gold and Roy had opposed Eisner's latest compensation package, which awarded him a $5 million bonus in a year in which the company's operating income declined 25% and the company's shares hit a new 52-week low. Bryson had called Roy a few days before. "I need to talk to you," he said, and insisted they meet somewhere they wouldn't be seen. Roy agreed, though he thought the tone of Bryson's voice had a mortuary quality to it. He feared that Eisner loyalists were going to try to purge Gold. The atmosphere at recent board meetings had been increasingly tense. How can I protect him? Roy wondered about Gold as he walked into the bar. He couldn't understand why the rest of the board would want to cut off the last remaining voice of dissent. As soon as they ordered their drinks, Bryson dispensed with small talk and got to the point. "You know, Roy, you're past the mandatory retirement age," he said. Roy was taken aback by Bryson's directness and murmured something non-committal. Yes, technically he was, since the retirement age was 72, and he had turned 73. But it didn't apply to board members who were also part of management, and he was the head of animation. Disney was famous for the longevity of many of its employees. "The committee has met," Bryson continued, "and Tom Murphy and Ray Watson are going to step down." Murphy, the former chairman of Capital Cities ABC, had joined the board after Disney acquired ABC in 1995. Watson, Disney's chairman before Eisner's arrival in 1984, was, after Roy, the board's longest-serving member. Both were over 72. Roy wasn't surprised, since they had mentioned to him their plans to retire. "We've concluded that you shouldn't run for re-election," Bryson said. Roy looked at him in stunned disbelief. He was speechless. He felt like a knife had been stuck into his heart. It had never crossed his mind that the board would go this far. It wasn't just that he was still one of the company's largest.
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.